This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal and rock interviews and segments.
I've got the guys from Obsidian Monolith. Guys, introduce yourselves again.
Hi everyone, I'm Maurizio. I'm a lead guitarist in the band.
And I'm Axel, vocals in the band.
Yeah. So, Melodic death metal band. They released their debut EP, The Descent. It's out now. Now, we'll talk about the EP in a little bit, but before that, let's take it back. How did the band start?
Yeah, that's a question for me. Actually, Obsidian Monolith started as a solo project back in 2015. So once I got a fair amount of songs, I didn't want to be get stuck in studio, record, release an album. That's it. So I thought, no, I want to play live. So I decided to start looking for band members in early 2016, so we're actually 2 years old. Yeah, toddlers.
Yeah.
Cool. When do you get involved?
Yeah, so I was playing in a band, Aeonian, before Obsidian Monolith, and which three members, one former member was Obsidian was in, and Maurizio sent me a message. He'd seen me playing drums in a few bands in Melbourne and actually asked me to come in and audition for drums. And the then band I was playing with, drummer, actually ended up getting the spot. And then I came across later because he was looking for a vocalist. So sort of, it just came across like that. Just been through meeting and gigs and hanging out in the same scene. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. So where does the name Obsidian Monolith come from?
From nothing. I mean, I just like the name, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going for sort of a Space Odyssey vibe, but we're still working on that. We're trying to put that into some lyrics.
No, really cool.
Yeah.
So, new EP, The Descent. So you started writing it back in 2015.
Yeah.
So, at what stage do you start sort of, collecting? So, let me rephrase that. So you got a bunch of songs.
Yeah.
How many of the ones you're writing kind of end up on The Descent?
3.
But in terms of how many the rest of the ones you're writing?
Well, the thing is, we're playing most of the songs that I've wrote in the past. But the thing is, when I write songs, I tend to write all the guitars, basic bass line, and then drums, no lyrics. So I record everything, or at least I have MIDI files, and I show it to the guys and say, "Oh, got a new song, check it out, let me know what you think about it." And so far I've been so lucky and honored that they actually like all the stuff. So I let actually the bassist and Axel, of course, do their own stuff on the songs.
Yeah, and then we the EP just sort of fell together. It was a bunch of songs that we really enjoyed playing live, and that got good responses live, and we were just sort of like, we felt like they had a nice flow together in the 4-track format, so I think it just sort of fell into place just through playing the songs and gigging them. Yeah.
No, cool. And so actually you've worked on the lyrics side of things?
Yeah, so most of the lyrics are mine, which is pretty cool. So I had a bit of artistic freedom there and sort of running by the guys and get the thumbs up or the thumbs down and go from there. So,
what was your approach in writing the lyrics?
Usually just out of whim. Quite a lot of the songs are quite emotionally driven. Some of them sort of derive from, I'll be watching a doco on something and that'll spark an idea, or I'll be listening to something and I'll just spark an idea. Yeah, it's just sort of, sometimes you just want to sit down and just write something down and it ends up turning into a song, or Maurizio will send me a guitar riff and I'll just listen to it and start formulating lyrics for it. And it's pretty much how it's very much random. Yeah.
Now, the name The Descent, who does that come from?
Yeah.
That bad boy.
That comes from the lyrics. So The Descent sort of, I guess, is sort of a bit of a look at human society in the sense that, you know, we're sort of this ticking time bomb as a race. And The Descent was sort of written from a pretty dark place and probably a pretty negative view on humanity, which as the different songs go through, there's a bit of a common theme. A lot of them is based, you know, there's sort of a view of humanity and what we do as a species. And The Descent was sort of, you know, one of those things is you know, the lyrics, we descend into chaos and stuff like that. And it's sort of my sort of viewpoint on the world today and this melting pot that we all find ourselves on. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, prior to recording this album, how much experience did you guys have sort of being in a recording studio?
Well, we recorded that at my place and the Bryce's place. So it's all done by ourselves.
Oh, cool.
It took a long time.
Yeah. No, we're very much home recording. We've pretty much done everything. Even with previous bands, a lot of stuff's been home record. You know, just your classic one mic and just 400 takes and
a little bit of frustration.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
No, that's really good to hear. We're going to be playing in a minute or so the first track off the album, The Descent. Richo, could you please talk a little bit about, like, sort of, I don't know, what inspired this track? What are your thoughts about it?
Well, the thing is, I don't get inspired by bands, so I kind of get visually inspired. So sometimes I like looking at landscapes, well, random pictures, and then I think about what's going on around me. It's a little bit, I don't know, how can I say that? It's not quite happy. It's pretty aggressive, a little bit sad, but yeah, that's it. I think it's a reflection of myself a little bit.
For the EP, how'd you guys get the artwork? Where does that come from?
Actually, my partner made the artwork, and I did the final touch. I showed it to the guys, and they actually liked it. That's it.
We sort of had the idea, sort of something mountainous, something a bit wintry.
Yeah.
And we had a few ideas floating, and then sort of tried to go with the most original one, basically. Yeah, so sort of try to keep it pretty simple, but get the point across, I guess.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. That's really good to hear. So you've released this EP. Couple of things that sort of come out of that. Are you guys planning any live shows for this year?
Well, for this year, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Not now.
So we're currently auditioning drummers and trying to find either a session guy or a full-time drummer, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
And looking to hopefully do an EP launch later in the year. Definitely having a crack at applying for some international supports. So we'll be gigging again hopefully in a couple of months.
Awesome, that's really good to hear. So any prospective drummers, send your response to Obsidian Monolith. Alright, cool. I want to dive a little bit more personally into you guys. So each year, like, when do you start sort of playing music?
A long time ago. I started playing classical guitar when I was 10 years old, and I haven't stopped since then.
So when the heavy sort of side thing come into it?
When I was 14 years old, I had a couple of friends that were into metal, and so we thought, I play guitar. Oh, dude, me too. Oh, okay, I play drums. Oh, cool, we need a bassist. Okay, so we picked up a random guy. Yeah, and we started playing metal.
That's a nice way to talk about Bryce. What about you, Axel?
Yeah, I sort of would have been probably 7 or 8 or something, and I got the Squire Stratocaster and all that sort of stuff for a birthday present, and sort of never really all that interested in it. And I think I was probably 8 years old, and I heard Metallica's Kill 'Em All. Had a cousin's band, they were playing it, they were jamming Motor Breath in their garage, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And that basically, after hearing that album, and then sitting down with those guys, and they were all a fair bit older, and I was 8 years old, so I was sort of like the clingy little kid, And anyway, one of my cousin's friends sat down with me with a guitar and walked me through the first couple of chords of Motor Breath, and it was just the most epic thing ever. And and that's where it all started, and all through sort of late primary school and early high school, lots of garage bands, and it's just always been a big part of life. Like, it's been pretty cool.
Oh, cool. So we were talking just in the break that you're also involved in like a bunch of bands. So why are you involved in so many bands?
Why not? I don't know. Different. Just different musical directions. Always try and mix it up. So Obsidian Monolith is obviously the death metal side of things, which has been awesome, and and then other projects exploring other musical horizons from a sort of wide array of different influences. So just like trying new stuff.
That's really cool. Mauricio,
Yep.
In terms of sort of making the music, like you're working on it as solo for a long time.
Yep.
Is there sort of any changes that come into like the actual musical part of it when you've sort of moved it from being a solo place to getting the other guys involved?
Yeah, every now and then we tell him we don't like his riffs.
Well, so far just for one song. No, as I said before, I'm actually lucky, and at the same time I'm honored that they really like what I'm doing. But it's not about me. No, because we are a band, so it's about us. They do their own arrangements, lyrics. He actually gives all the titles. Like, what I do is, dude, I got this new song, Obsidian Monolith, track 9. Oh, that's original.
That's really interesting, because like when I sort of work on some demos and just random stuff, I always, even if it's not the title that sticks, I always sort of give them like a title, even if it's just a random word. Like, so do you just give them just a number? Do you have anything that sort of designates this is that song that I'm working on?
Not really. I mean, I just number the song, or maybe I look the date. Oh,
we've got all these folders, full of like concept 1, concept 2, concept, and so on and so forth. Just all these tracks. It's just like a riff machine.
Interesting. So, like, you've released The Descent. I know it's like always kind of like, what are you going to come up with next? But so, going forward in the future, you're looking at playing some live shows later on in the year.
Yeah.
Do you have material in the works for any kind of other stuff? How does Obsidian Monolith look, sort of, heading out?
Well, we have heaps of material. Actually, we have 1 hour worth of material.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we sort of I think that the demo was sort of a bit of a taster.
Yeah.
The EP was a bit of a taster. We've got more than enough material for a full length album, which we hope to get stuck into maybe end of the year next year, which would be cool. And and working on a bunch of new songs that will hopefully debut live and in the coming probably towards the end of the year next year as well.
My friend, Bryce, is in the band. He's unfortunately too ill to come. But regardless, I think we've done pretty well without him. How did he join the band?
I don't remember.
Wait, who's Bryce? No.
I think is he a bassist?
Yeah. Oh, that guy, yeah. I think we all auditioned at the same time.
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah.
Actually, no, yeah, Bryce and I did. We came in for basically, the bass player and the original bass player and singer both parted ways with Maurizio, and which was about the same time I was sort of talking to him about about coming in for an audition, and I think my comment was, "Oh no, you have to take my bass player as well." Because Bryce and I have been playing together for a couple of years.
Oh well, if I have to,
yeah.
okay.
So Bryce and I both came in. We auditioned together, and we just hit it
you
off.
Nailed it.
So it was pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Maurizio.
Yeah.
Band plays sort of a style of melodic death metal. How did you kind of get into that kind of genre?
Well, that's a funny question. I mean, of course, I do follow that genre. You know, when you spend so much time on YouTube, you discover so many bands here and there. I guess for Obsidian Monolith, I wasn't really looking for other bands, like listening to them and think, oh yeah, I can do that. But I guess my background comes from classical music, symphonic black metal. I like melody in general, but at the same time I like the aggression of metal, like heavy metal, you know. So when I started writing stuff, I found myself comfortable with this genre. As I said, it's a sort of a reflection of myself. It's pretty direct. I don't know. It's I don't know how to describe it actually. I don't know how I got into that. Actually, no. Now I remember why.
Here we go.
Why? So basically, when I moved to Australia, I've been working for 2 years without playing guitar properly, and I thought, oh man, I want to play, and because my background was thrash metal, death metal, grindcore, and I always tried to do something different. I thought, oh, maybe that's not for me, and in those 2 years, I thought, oh. Why I'm not that happy? What should I do? And I remember my partner actually introduced me to Bellacore and other bands. Also Meridian, which is a local band. Actually, Scott, which was the original member is a friend of mine. I knew him before his band, but my partner gave me his album and said, "Oh yeah, listen to this." Yeah, okay. I was still into Sepultura, all that stuff, so I was like, I don't know. I like it, but I'm not sure. Then I thought, that's melodic. It is heavy, doomy. I like it. Probably that's my thing. And then I started doing all this stuff. So, Scott, if you're listening, thank you.
Cool. One last question. Is there anything you've been listening to lately? Any new music?
Yes.
Any old music? You know, what's sort of you've been listening to lately?
You want to start?
Oh, after you, man.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, I'm listening to the new Dimmu Borgir album. I think it's amazing. So, haters, go away. It is well, so many people say, oh, they lost their punch. But I think I really dig their atmospheric sound they have at the moment. It's still Dimmu Borgir, you know, but it's awesome. I love it. What else? I'm listening to Enslaved, Cradle of Filth, especially the last two albums. They're awesome. What else? Latin jazz, which
I've been going back through an old school death metal phase. Going back to a lot of Dying Fetus and Decapitated, and Suffocation. A lot of the early sort of Deicide, a lot of the '90s sort of death metal scene. A lot of the really groovy stuff. Been drawing a fair bit of inspiration to that for pretty much everything. Actually, it's good stuff.
No, that's really cool. So, Obsidian Monolith, thank you so much for talking to me.
Cheers for having us, man.
Debut EP, The Descent, is out now. Check out the guys. They'll be having, hopefully, some live shows later in the year. Before we let you go, anything else you want to say?
Thanks for having us, man. Definitely. Check out the EP. It's up on Spotify and YouTube and all that. You can listen to it for free. check it out, and we hope to see you at some shows in the near future.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsyn and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsyn. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on Syn 90.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream Syn 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tommaso from Flashgun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heavenly Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Olney of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on Syn FM.
Hi, this is Einar from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Zebrahead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on Syn.